Hello everyone, unsurprisingly it's me Pavlo with you, and today we'll be talking about EarAcoustic Audio SPA earphones. EarAcoustic Audio actually is not a new company because in the past same people were known as TFZ or TFZ or the Fragrant Zither, and that's the company that made a noticeable impact in this personal audio world. They released quite a few popular models in the past, and now they released a bunch of new models under a new name. And SPA is one of that models. And what is interesting, they decided to release a bunch of sub-models for each model. They have different variations of this SPA, high-end Max, high-end Pro Max, and so on. They have different materials, slightly different tuning, but same overall idea. And the price vary from, I don't remember exactly, from like $68, $80 or $80 and up to the highest version, limited edition. Actually, that one that I've got for review today, it's a limited edition dedicated to this year of the snake, and it costs $430. But I can promise you it's one of the most unusual models in terms of design you'll ever see. And it's also really interesting sonically, so let's have a closer look. Box is done in unusual shape and looks pretty fancy with this silver foiling. Of course, it was wrapped in plastic. I already unwrapped it and left some fingerprints on it. But this silver foiling overall aesthetics matches the model name pretty well. On top, you'll get the box with manual and accessories. So, pretty nice polygraphy here, some information, warranty card, two set of three pair of tips each. Then goes earpieces themselves. Let's pull them out, and at the bottom you'll get also silver storage pouch. Inside goes cable and bonus accessory. I'm not 100% sure what is it, but it looks like some designer wristband. So you probably it should be put on your wrist, and this thing should be hanging somewhere on it. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I guess. As you can see, accessory set is pretty nice. You can see yourself that company went extra mile in creating the design. They have pretty similar models in terms of materials and faceplates. SPA high-end models also use metal shells, as far as I understand, and have same crystal-like faceplates. So you can see here is company's logo, and here it's some kind of snake. But for this limited edition, EarAcoustics decided to add this unusual texture. And it looks fancy, and it feels really unusual when you touch it. But at the same time, it's pretty smooth, so this texture doesn't impact wearing comfort, and they feel really nice in ears. They are a bit heavy, so they definitely feels like solid metal earphones, but not too heavy to provide a comfortable wearing. Shape is pretty ergonomic and fits nicely into ears, at least into my ears that are used to earphones. They have average spouts in terms of length, and they are average in terms of sound isolation. There is a lip for holding the tips, and also there is a protective grill here, and you can see that they reused same design of the grill on the vent hole on top. So they did some acoustic treatment inside and left this pretty big venting port. Cable is made replaceable. Here used classical 2-pin connectors. no recessed pins, sockets or something like that, so absolutely standard. That makes finding some third-party cable an easy task. But I'm not sure that you'll need that anyway. So, tightly fitting connectors, there are ear hooks formed, and the cable itself is made in this modern style. It has PVC tube-like insulation, and inside it's easy to see that it has some additional shielding with materials that remind some kind of foil. And it's not super soft, but at the same time it's pretty comfortable in everyday wearing. Almost no microphonic effect, and the cable behaves well. Pretty heavy splitter with chin slider also helps cable to stay at its place because it pulls cable down, providing more secure fit. And below the splitter it goes down to this 3.5mm connector. It's also pretty big and reliable. And overall, cable looks like some kind of rope, so I am not sure how it will behave like after a year of usage or so, but at first look it definitely feels sturdy and reliable. Taking into account that EarAcoustics, it's a new name for TFZ or TFZ. I'm not sure about the correct pronunciation. I've heard both on the YouTube. For me, TFZ sounds a bit more correct, but I'm definitely not pretending to be a specialist in pronouncing of English acronyms. So, unsurprisingly, these earphones, in terms of tuning, reminds that cooperation between Angel Ears and TFZ that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago, earphones Athena. But here we getting even a bit further development of this idea. It's a fun sounding earphones, but with this, at the same time with a good amount of technicality and balancing between being fun and being technical. So not leaning too much into either sides. Good resolution, but at the same time not monitoring or natural representation at all. But at the same time not overcolored. So earphones created to make you enjoy the music. What is really important here is to find the proper tips, because spouts are not super long, meaning a bit shallow fit. You need to find the tips that will provide the proper insulation and good sense of vacuum in your ear channels. It's important for any earphones, but for single dynamic driver ones, it's usually even more important. So what we're getting here? Accented low frequencies, but properly accented. Bass had nice weight, and it's not trying to be super fast or super punchy. Overall punch is pretty good, but it's not like that type of bass that is focused on small nuances and absolute precision. It's more musical type of bass rendering, but it's not too slow. Deeper layers of bass are present, but they're not shadowing other low frequencies. They just build the foundation for the whole tune, and on top of that deep rumbly foundation, we getting nice and detailed, enjoyable mid bass. It's perfect with acoustic instruments, with something greatly recorded, but it's also pretty enjoyable with electronic music and genres that depends on synthesized low frequencies. But if you need some bass head earphones, it's not an option for you, because accent here is noticeable, but it's not at the bass head level in general. So, first one is Jerry Cortez, Around the Globe. Typical audiophilic recording with really high quality. It's from one of that HG Tracks samplers, and nice bass delivered really well with good contrast with other instruments. And some electronic music, it's Glitch Mob, Bad Wings, And here I enjoyed the bass line and also that great contrast between low frequencies and other instruments and frequencies. Bass is really well controlled, but at the same time these earphones don't try to make like this pinpoint type of low frequencies or mids, and it gives nice sense of organics in the representation. It's not warm, I can call them actually, smooth and lush, but it's that type of smoothness that achieved not by removing some minor nuances, but by overall representation and not overdoing the focus on the small nuances. Mids are really musical with good amount of weight, especially if it's great for the male vocal, but at the same time detalization managed to to be absolutely precise. You're getting right necessary amount of small nuances and details. With some genres that requires them, you'll get more of that. When you don't need it, when you need more coherent representation, you also get that. Imaginary stage is not super spacious, but really accurately built. Vocals tend to be pushed a little bit forward, enhancing the depth and depth layering. They are not super critical for the quality of records, but at the same time, I definitely recommend to go selecting better recorded stuff and better mastered stuff for them to give them possibility to show the best potential. Instruments are rendered really nicely, and when it's necessary, you'll get a nice amount of aggression, and the female vocal sounds with a bit of saturation in terms of emotions and dynamics. So what I prepared as an examples here. First one is Aha, The Living Daylights. And this track really hits great with these earphones because they do everything to make this track sound perfect. All that sense of epicness that Aha tried to put here, it's a Bond soundtrack at the end of all, so it requires to be a little bit epic, but at the same time really great saturated emotional vocals, interesting tunes, mostly played with synthesizers, and they really managed to maintain this 80s aesthetics and deliver it well as with vocal. And track I decided to include to test them with not superbly recorded material, but material that requires speed and precision. Annihilator, first Annihilator album that I've bought, I really enjoyed it. It was one of my greatest discoveries in the world of metal. I was like absolute metalhead when I was at senior school. Anyway, Back to the Palace requires speed, but not being too dry, because otherwise it will sound too sharp and piercing, and you're getting great amount of aggression, but not too much. At the same time, bass line and drums sounds at their place and not pushed too forward. And the treble is also really well balanced because you getting nice amount of details, proper attacks and decays, normal layering, not superb, but really decent, I'd say probably. And really good overtone saturation, so you're getting nice sense of realism for the instruments. And also they are pretty decent in representing that auditorium room space where music was recorded. Of course, when it's present in the record. Because when it's recorded in small sound isolated studio box, of course you won't get that effect. But for the live recordings, for some audiophiliac recordings, classical music, you'll definitely get that. And also, when it's necessary to deliver a bit of sharpness when it's present in the record, you'll get that. So don't expect them to be like polite or relaxed earphones. And first track is Asia, Nyctophobia, classical. Maybe it's not even art rock like it was in 70s or 80s. It's more of sophisticated pop music, to me at least. But it's always a matter of denomination. Great tunes, nice vocal, pretty decently recorded percussions, and that all requires good sounding treble, and these earphones deliver that. And second track, that's absolute audiophilia, Kent Poon, April in Paris, and you getting a lot of that things that requires great treble performance, like brushes on the cymbals, trumpet that goes to the high frequency area, high notes of piano that goes to the high frequency area. They're lacking a bit of refinement, typical for the high-end earphones, but still does a great job to represent all this treble in a natural but at the same time not fatiguing manner. In terms of pairing, they require some technical source, so some player of mid-level or some good dongle will be a great addition to show their full potential. They are not super sensitive to be too noise speaking, and at the same time they don't require like tons of driving power, so fairly balanced in this aspect. Speaking about the comparisons, probably the most obvious comparison to me is that Angel Ears and TFZ Athena that I reviewed some time ago. They show some similarity, but here you'll get better treble layering, you'll get a bit bigger but at the same time slightly more natural bass. So like it's a step forward in terms of overall level of the sound. Also, what I can compare with, I don't know, FIO FD5 and probably FD7, they are more fun and more bit drier on the bass, bit more focused on the bass textures. But here you're getting a bit weightier bass and slightly more refined treble here to my ears. Maybe SimGod EA1000. For the EA1000, you're getting a bit inferior treble compared to this model and slightly more relaxed mids. Here you'll get a bit more technicality in the mid frequencies. Overall, in terms of value, I think that probably in case of limited edition, you're paying a bit extra for this stylish shells. They definitely looks great, but they required some extra effort. So this limited edition dedicated to the Year of Snake, their price is like $430. But at the same time, they have different models. If I remember right, they have high-end Max or something like that. That costs around $200. They don't have this texture, but as I've seen in different reviews, they shows almost similar sound. Probably they will be best option in terms of value. But in this case, it's definitely when example when you pay extra for something unusual and unique. So I think this model also worth it, but keep in mind that you're paying slightly more for the design. I'm really great that EarAcoustic Audio are back, or TFZ are back under the new name. Probably they need a bit simplification in their model lineup, but still, we need a company that does a great job with dynamic drivers, and we got it. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.